Hey there, restaurant pros. It's David Scott Peters, and welcome to the Restaurant Prosperity Formula podcast. For over 2 decades, I've been guiding restaurant owners to success with the proven principles of something I call the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. I originally created the formula based on the daily practices of the most successful restaurateurs I coached, and it's now the foundation of what I teach restaurant owners like you so you can achieve success. What do I mean by success? Success is a restaurant owner who dictates the terms of their life and their bank account instead of their restaurants dictating those things for them. Success is a restaurant owner who has freedom from the restaurant and the financial freedom they never thought possible. How you define success is up to you, but I do know the way to achieving it is using the Restaurant Prosperity Formula. This season, I'm diving even deeper into the core elements of the formula: leadership, systems, training, accountability, and taking action. Along with my insights, you'll hear from special guests, industry experts, and inspiring success stories from fellow restaurant owners who've turned their businesses around and found their definition of success. In this episode, number 126, we'll be doing a segment I call Flip the Table, where a member takes over and interviews me. Today, I'm handing the mic to somebody who brings infectious energy, relentless curiosity, and the kind of real talk restaurant pros crave. He's a no BS operator, the driving force behind Super Smokers Barbecue and Papa's Diner, and one of the most engaged, action-taking members in our entire community, Jeff Fitter. Get ready because he'll be asking the questions. Listen in and see what Jeff asks and gets really personal. Let's get started. But first, a word from our sponsor. Look, if you run an independent restaurant and you're still tossing money at random social media posts hoping something sticks, stop. My friend Matt Plapp and his team at America's Best Restaurants have cracked the code. Their programs don't just get you likes, they drive actual sales. Whether you need new customers, want to win back lost ones, or just get your regulars to spend more, ABR's got a proven system for it. No fluff, just butts and seats. If you're ready to stop guessing and start growing, book a meeting now at business.americasbestrestaurants.com. No BS, just results. Jeff, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, this could be a lot of fun because I know that you don't lack any personality like me. We are 2 peas in a pod, so this is going to be a lot of fun. This is the Flip the Table where you get to ask me questions. But before we do that, tell people a little bit about you, your wife, and your businesses that you have, plural.
So Michelle and I own 2 restaurants and 3 food trucks currently. Most people say, oh, that's awesome. I say, yeah, until the motor blows in your food truck and the other one's down. But I digress. We bought 2 legacy restaurants. One is a barbecue joint that we've actually recently just transitioned into a diner with award-winning barbecue. After much hard-headedness, but I'm sure we'll get into that later. And we also own a bar and grill that I've been actually coming to since, Michelle and I have been coming to since '93, and we bought it about 2.5 years ago. So we, prior to that, I'm an IT guy, at least I was, and had a catering company that I ran out of my house with my wife and kids, and our youngest daughter, has been cooking with me since she was literally knee-high to a grasshopper. So we've made it into a family business, and we enjoy it.
That's fantastic. And it's been quite a journey. I think we've been working together now 3 years. Does that sound about right? 4?
I think, David, I think it might be really close to 5.
No kidding. Right from the beginning.
Because it was right at the tail end
of pandemic.
Right at the tail end of COVID, I think, is when we started working together. Right before we opened up our second location for the barbecue joint that we have since closed. But I was preparing for this. I thought, man, I really need to kind of go see what others have asked because I don't want to ask other questions that have already been asked. And I was watching the one that you just recently in April did with Raul, and super great guy. Made me realize I need to call him and pick his brain a little bit more than I have in the past. I will re-emphasize something that he said. I wouldn't be sitting here before you with the limited gray hair I have and still eyeballs in my head if it weren't for you. And we're going to get into that a little bit deeper in my questions. But kudos to you. The biggest thing I tell people about my coaching experience with David Scott Peters is you're exactly what I need when I need it. Some days you're the guy that sticks his foot up and makes me stand up and realize that I'm going the wrong direction. Some days you're the guy that says, no, you need to lean on this, and this is where you need to be. I don't know how you manage to do that, but we're going to find out in my questions.
I appreciate that. Well, this is kind of, with no further ado, this is the flip the table. This is where you, as an operator, as a member, get to ask me questions. I have no idea what they are. Let's find out. Jeff, you're on.
On a scale of 1 to 5, David, how scared are you right now?
I might be a 4 since you texted me before. What's off limits? So and I said nothing. So there we go.
You did, and I took that with a grain of salt. So my first question, David, for you is, outside of the restaurant experience that you have, one of the things that you've really said to me in our coaching experiences that has really resonated with me is we're in the people business. And the big question I have for you as a coach, how do you determine who that person is and how you coach them? How do you, me, for instance, me and my wife, for instance, we couldn't be more polar opposite in many ways. Not that it's a bad thing, but we are definitely polar opposite in many ways. How do you navigate determining what you say when you say it in the level of coach or human you need to be at that moment?
I think a lot of that's experience. I've been doing this for just about 23 years. So I think another month from now, I'll be 23 years coaching independent operators. Number one, I don't know that I adapt as much as you think I do. I am who I am. I have my stories. I have my way of doing things. I'm pretty energetic, if not overly enthusiastic about what people can do and change. With that said, I do my very best to be a good listener, but I also have a sixth sense when it's time to call bullshit. Let's move forward. How I deliver that is very much on the person across me. And I think it probably came from working with my dad years and years ago. And when I say working with, just talking back and forth, he was an NLP speaker, which is neuro-linguistics programming or processing, can't remember which, Tony Robbins shit. Like, he was a motivational speaker. Hopefully the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. And he was phenomenal on stage and great at reading people. And a part of it is there's this technique that, like, if you're in a job interview or something, it's mirroring the person in front of you. Now, I don't do this in a way that I think, and I look at you and I go, man, I've got to match you. But if you're sitting with somebody and they're enthusiastic, you want to be enthusiastic. If they're docile, you want to be a little more docile. Now, I don't do so good with docile, but it's how I deliver the message. It is mirroring. It's also understanding body language and tone in some respects. That I know for a fact that there are times that I can get so energetic, so enthusiastic that it comes across aggressive. And it's not. And you and I both have this problem because we're big dudes, right? We're tall. We've got some meat to us. Like, fucking people see us and they're like, when they're employees and such, it can be intimidating. So if we square up on somebody, it's learning to sit down sometimes and turning sideways just to get my shoulder a little less square and so on. And I think these are things that just become natural to me. I honestly think you give me more credit than I'm due, because I am who I am, man. I think here's the best way to put it. As long as I come to you authentically me and truly interested in helping you become better, and you know it, I think that's what it really is. That I'm not trying to just beat the shit out of you. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass because I want your credit card to clear another month. It is, I want you to be successful, because if you're successful, I'm successful. And it's probably that, really, more than anything.
And for me, I would imagine this is probably a true statement. every single person in your program is different, and they motivate differently, and they process differently, for better or worse. You and I think I'm more like you than you like me. I have many other deficiencies, but so we get along very well. I am incredibly hard-headed, and you've done a fantastic job, from my perspective, in meeting me there head on, not halfway, not trying to motivate me through one thing or another, but you always seem to find the right way to deliver the message that needs to be delivered to me, in the time that I need it. Which takes me to my next question, which is, from the coaching perspective, you've made very little bones about an event that occurred within your life that really made you change your perspective. It brought in your passion for things from the past, from your college days. It brought in your ability to say, you know what, it's time for me to slow down. It's time for me to do these things that I'm teaching everybody else to do, which to me became very impressive when we first talked. It was one of the reasons that I wanted to be in this program, is because you're not just the restaurant guru. You're not just the, if you do these things, I know what your outcome's going to be guy. You lived this, not just the restaurant life, but in your business life. So I think that it's important that people see and know the human side of David Scott Peters, and what makes you tick a little bit. So, to what you're comfortable with sharing on the podcast, can you talk a little bit about the event that kind of altered your mindset and brought you to kind of where you're at today with us and with the group?
Yeah, I'm assuming you're referring to my heart attack, which is a major life event. It was a minor heart attack, a couple stints. I'm good, but it was scary as shit. I can remember literally, it was the day before Pizza Expo. I was going to get a plane at 6 a.m. I normally drive, but I had a flight at 6 a.m. And the night before, I had flutteriness. I didn't have this crucial pain in your left side or anything. Just kind of like I knew something was up. And I kept looking, and why? Why was I aware? My dad died of a heart attack. His dad died of a heart attack. His uncle died of a heart attack. And I've been on meds since I was in my 20s because I knew that this was my life, hereditary, my gene pool, if you will. And I was going to this. I've never missed a speech. I'm going. And I'm literally having a heart attack. I don't know it, but I kind of know it, and I'm ignoring it because I've got a 6 a.m. flight. And I wake my wife up at 1 o'clock in the morning. She has no idea. I've kind of hinted something was up, but not really, because I have a plane in the morning. I wake her up dead sleep at 1 a.m. Go, we're going to the hospital. She's like, what? And just because I'm a jackass, of course I drove myself. She was in the passenger side. It was my car. I don't know what to tell you. But missing that, the initial part of missing that speech, having to have Jenny on my team call up and say he's not making it, he's having a heart attack, to learn that I wasn't going to my next group meeting, my high-end mastermind group meeting was coming up. I was learning that I was literally going to have to slow way down and so on and so forth, and I could feel it. And it was frightening because my dad, passed away from having stints put in years and years and years before. I get probably 20, almost 30 years earlier when he was younger, and I was terrified. And all of a sudden, things started to change. I didn't have quite the same energy as I was coming back, and I started to evaluate my life and how hard I was working. I was literally putting in morning, noon, and night. Like, it did not matter. There were times when I was building my software that I would wake up at 6 a.m. because I had to run downstairs. Before we had Zoom, everything was a teleconference, so I could sit in my pajamas and have a coaching call for my East Coast people, work, have lunch, get close to finish the day. Kids would come home from school. They'd laugh at me because I still hadn't showered. I still haven't been out of my pajamas. And then I'd shower. We'd have dinner, spend a little time with the family. And then I'd get back on the computer now with my overseas programmers till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, go to bed, wake up. And I was doing that routinely, like getting 2, 3, 4 hours of sleep. And I kept telling myself, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my family. Well, I'd be on the road 2 to 3 times a month speaking. I'd miss my daughter's birthday just about every other year because the New York show was her birthday. I'm doing this for my family. And I stopped. The heart attack woke me up and said, number one, I have limited time. Number one, bullshit, David. You're doing it for you. You know, you're not, because if you were doing it for your family, you'd be freaking home. You would make them a priority, not chasing this dream that you're going to blow up this big company and so on and so forth. And, you know, in doing so, at the time, my was a member, became a coach, became a business partner, approached me to buy me out because we were going through some financial struggles with the business at the time. And I evaluated and said, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm not going to lie. The first 6 months or so, if not a year, I was in the downy dumps because I didn't know who I was. I was this guy called the restaurant expert. And now I was a guy rebuilding a company and was, you know, I in my videos, as you see in my video library, I call them my puffy white face. I've got, you know, 30, 40 pounds more on. I'm pale white. I don't look healthy. But, you know, here I'm recording these videos. And I think that all of a sudden, I took my own medicine. As I say to restaurant owners, and I had for decades, they're like, hey, you've got to slow down. You've got to make time for your family and so on. I wasn't taking my own advice. And I found my way back to rowing, got healthy. I've been competing internationally and locally. I have made time for my family. We make it a priority to bring my daughter home from Alaska or go see her when she was in Chicago. I make time every Sunday. My son comes over for dinner with my mom lives with us. So there's a priority. My mom lives with, she's 83. And, you know, family. And I think that all of a sudden I'm a better person for you as a member, as a restaurant owner. When I coach you, it's like I have balance in my life. And so when I look at you and I say you need balance, I believe it. But I'm no different than any of you guys as entrepreneurs. I ignored it. I thought that I was doing this for my family, and it's a bullshit excuse. It really is.
You know, and I think that's so important from my perspective, anyways. I think it's so important that to a certain degree you've drank your own Kool-Aid. You tell a story about how you created a checklist for your son to clean the bathroom. You tell you live this life in the restaurant world, but you literally live this life every day in your own home. And I think that you know, I would hope that if somebody who's not in your program currently watches this podcast, what they glean from this is you're not just a guy out there saying, hey, if you follow these things, you will be this success. One of the things that I love the most about the program, and this is going to lead into the next question, one of the things that I love the most about the program is while we all have while you and Mary and now Steve and probably many others before them, well, not before Mary, because Mary is Christ. We're just going to call it that, right? Later,
the voice of the Lord when she's not on camera.
Right. But you know, we have a defined group or defined objectives, right? With all the not tasks, the
systems.
What the hell do you call it? I can't think of the name of it. But everything you have together for all the systems. That's what our systems.
Yep.
We have defined systems that we use. And like when we started the program, we started like, I don't know, 2/3 of the way down and then worked our way back through it. But the one thing that I love the most about this program is it's almost custom fit for every member. Everybody started somewhere and then worked their way through it here or there with your guidance or your Mary's guidance. The one lesson that is still bouncing around in my head that I tend to remember, apply, and then forget, and then remember, apply, and then forget, and it's kind of on rinse and repeat at the moment, is the leadership thing. We were actually on a call with David from Michigan once, and you were talking to him about how he needed to step out of the pizza cook role. It was greater than that, but the pizza cook role and into the leadership role. And that was a big wake up call for me. It was a big wake up call moment for me because as human beings, when shit hits the fan, we tend to go to the thing we know the most, right? So when a line cook calls in, I go cook. When a bartender calls in, I go bartend. Not that I'm the greatest bartender in the world or greatest cook in the world, but I go do it. And then 2 weeks later, I go, man, why are the systems not being followed? Why are these things not happening? And that's when I'm reminded that's because the leadership is missing now. So what advice do you give, well, me, but the average Joe, to remind them that it's not just a task being a leader. It is actually your job. It is actually how you become successful. And you and Raul talked about this a lot on yours there on your podcast with him. I know we've talked about this a lot with Avery and his great successes. But what advice do you give people to remind them that it's not just our task, it's our role to become the leader and continue to lead, even when
especially when things go bad, right? We've got to become the leader our restaurant needs. And it's not just a throwaway comment. It's part of the restaurant prosperity formula. The fact it's the number one thing. Because to go backwards, people ask me why restaurants fail. And 20-something years ago, I would have told you it's because they over-couponed and they were undercapitalized when they opened. And then, a decade went by, and I'm like, oh, because food costs out of control, they're getting bled dry at the time clock, they can't get employees to do anything, and their managers are idiots, is the stories. And, it's that. But it's not. It is literally one thing. What makes a restaurant successful and why restaurants fail, it comes down to one thing: leadership. When you fail, it's your lack of leadership. You chose to be the best line employee you have. You chose to be God's gift to the restaurant and fix everything and answer every question and not empower people. You figured you had more time, and you subscribed to the old way of running a restaurant, the way I was taught from my mom. The harder you work, the more hours you put in, the more valuable you are to the company, and it's bullshit wrong. And so when you can start to look at your list of things that you do on a daily basis and go, these are tasks. Now, there are things that are absolutely yours. Budgeting is yours. Checking on the KPIs are yours. But man, going to the bank's not yours. Writing a schedule's not yours. Flipping a burger's not yours. Taking an inventory, recipe costing cards. These are not yours. These are tasks, duplicatable processes that if I took the time to train someone, make sure they know what their job is, how to do it, how well it should be done, more important by when they're going to do things. It's understanding that the keystone to all the systems are checklists. Oh, how many times do we get a brand new member? Checklist. So this is really what I'm supposed to be doing? Checklist. And then all of a sudden it changes their world when people start using the frickin' thing and they start freaking out because the internet's down because we sign you up a Jolt. And you're like, oh my God, my checklist doesn't work anymore. It's giving them your system, your process, your way. It is giving them an opportunity to learn, to feel like they're part of something bigger, to go out of your way to make sure they feel appreciated. It does not mean they have to like you. They have to feel like they're part of something bigger, greater. They actually contribute. It is your job to help see, as a leader, what's in common in everybody. My manager's supposed to find out what's unique in each person, push their buttons, get them motivated, whatever each person's motivation is. But as a leader, I want to know you as a person, but I don't want to push your button. I want to push the big button that says, this is where we're going. I want to share with you my why we got into business, because that's the direction we're going. I want to share you with my core values. That's the rudder that when you make these decisions throughout the day in the business, you know that it's moving us towards our goal. And if I can continue to be that leader, that inspiration, then by God, people want to follow you. They want to be a part of it. Now, it does not mean that you don't, like you said, roll up your sleeves. When the shit's hitting the fan, your team wants to know you've got their back. And sometimes it means you step in. What we don't want to be is doing their jobs. That's the problem with most restaurant owners, including myself when I was a manager on the floor, is we think that, hey, if I step in and play superhero and do everybody's job at the same time better than anybody else, I'm doing them a favor. No, you're telling them, don't worry about it. I got it. You're not as important as I am. I've got it. And so when you can switch that role around and go, I'm not supposed to do all the things. I'm supposed to teach the things and make sure those things are being done. They're just tasks. There are certain tasks that are yours, but the vast majority, they need to be delegated, trained, held accountable to, and you need to lead. I mean, it really doesn't come down to anything else. The magic sauce in all of it is leading. Really is.
And it's crazy for me, and it just, I was actually thinking through the questions and where I wanted to go with us today, knowing that this was one of the questions. I really kind of started thinking through my this year, the last 5 months, or I guess 4.5, a little over 4 months. It's only May 5th. I realized that I have once again fallen in that trap. We're short staffed and we have all the same problems that every, for that matter, not just restaurant, but I mean, every entrepreneur has in just about every level of business everywhere today. And what I find myself doing is plugging holes. I spend more time not solving problems, but resolving the immediate thing. Literally just minutes before being on the call with you, actually I was still on it when I got on the call with you for this. I was literally talking to my chef that's helping me run all the operations and having that conversation with Jamie. Listen, we've got to reimagine how we're putting ourselves in a role or in a position while we still have to manage the day-to-day, because there isn't enough line staff, because there isn't enough of our management team to go around between all restaurants and food trucks. We have to put ourselves in a position where we can still lead from that manager role. We still have to accomplish the task. We still have to make sure that the restaurant 101 stuff gets done. But we still have to find time to be able to lead and motivate the employees that don't have as much experience, motivate the staff that is wanting to grow and is wanting to go places. I've got staff super excited about coming with me to your seminar in a week. We've been together 4 or 5 years, and I've yet to be to a seminar. I'm excited about coming. I'm maybe a little bit scared because you get so lost in the day-to-day activities that it's hard to remember that you've got to go and do these things. You've got to go do these systems. You got to go hold people accountable. You got to go be that leader. And to be honest, I'm a little bit scared to go to the seminar and become revitalized and come back with a fire lit. I'm actually getting a goosebumps now thinking about it. But from that perspective, when you are on stage and you are going through your program with the fire hose fully opened,
yep.
What's the favorite thing you see or hear from the audience when when that light bulb goes off, when they have that aha moment, when you see you finally broken through to them about why this is important and why it works as best as it does?
I don't know about a favorite, but I think the thing that always stands out to me and amazes me is by the time we get to the first break, I've not taught you a single effing system. I have poked every button in your body about what's going wrong in the industry today, what some of your challenges may or may not be, what life feels like, and what it should be like. And by the time we get through that process, I have a number of people come up to me going, "Oh, this is so great. I'm so excited about this." I'm like, we haven't done anything yet. Then we get to lunch and they come back from lunch and different people come up, "Oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed." We haven't done anything yet. Like, just wait. We're about to sprint through, this forest called systems like it's coming. But it's when you realize the system shit I teach is so easy. It's ridiculous. It's the people part. It's finding your role. It's finding your voice. It's becoming re-energized about your business. So when you come home, you can lead from the front, not from the back, feeling like, I can't believe there's another vendor calling me up for money. I've got another employee that ghosted me and we're short another cook. And you go through the list of all the challenges that can just swallow you up. But you come back from the seminar, you're like, let's go, like a kid on crack. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm only making it up right here. So the fact of the matter is, just all full of energy. The key, though, is, like you talked about, that the apprehensive of I'm about to get wound up. What happens when you get home? While my favorite part might be getting you excited in the room and seeing that moment, you go, son of a bitch, let's go. It's when I'm not next to you when you get home. If you aren't one of my coaching members, staying self-motivated, that's the hard part. Because who holds us accountable? As a restaurant owner, who holds you accountable? You do. It's the same reason why when I went back to rowing, I went back to a club that has a coach. I freaking know what to do. I was a scholarship D1 rower. I had at the height of my peak of my athletic performance, I think I was 195, 9% body fat. I had tree trunk legs, lats that were out here. I know what to do. How did I end up with a heart attack? Because I wasn't doing it. Right? And sometimes we need that person to kick you in the ass and say, do. Yeah, you went the wrong direction. So what? Let's go. And it's often that coach that delivers the hard message, but when they care, even though you want to kill them sometimes, at least in athletics, you respected them afterwards forever because they're like, they got the most out of you. And so while the question was what I get most excited about, it's getting you energized. I have the same fear you have of what happens when you go home.
And that's why I'll make the pitch for you. That's why I think this program is so doggone important, because those weekly calls, when I first joined the program, the weekly calls for me, and we talked about this, the weekly calls for me was misery loves company. It was great to hear there were other people with the same damn problems that I got. Yeah. Like, it was wonderful. It warmed what little heart I have to know that I wasn't alone. But the aha moment for me wasn't in the systems, wasn't in the misery loves company. It wasn't even in, I was just bragging to some of my staff about this. I love the fact that I can literally send a text message to, well, pretty much anybody that have their number, but Mark McShaffrey seems to be my go-to guy on quite a few, or Bob Cady. What would Bob Cady do? I'm finally getting his name right. They call you back and they text you back. But my aha moment with you, which I think is incredibly important, is you say it sometime as a threat, right? We get on the weekly calls and you're like, okay, does anybody have any questions? And then nobody has, and you go, okay, well, I got this mindset stuff we're going to go through. And for me, I go, yes, because the mindset stuff is the mental end of this industry, and probably for that matter, any business, it's a train wreck, and it's so difficult to keep yourself motivated in it by yourself. But having the right mindset to be able to accomplish or overcome the challenges that you're faced with is something that I think that you're very, very, very well tuned into. Now, I don't know if it's because you've got some great book, or if you've got a crystal ball, or if it's because you're improv comedy, you just pick things up. But can you talk a little bit about how you know which mindset thing to go through, or how to keep people motivated from that perspective to be able to lead the way they should?
Yeah, so everybody understands what we're talking about. There was a major change. When I wrote my book, Restaurant Prosperity Formula, and I looked at the most successful restaurant owners I worked with up to that point, would be the equivalent to our Mastery Plus group. It's a mastermind group. Many of these members had been with me for an average of 12, 14 years. And so 20 of my top operators at the time, and I watched them go through. I had an operator who's, to this day, is one of my dearest friends, who, when he started, came to my 4-day workshop in the old days in Vegas, not 2 days. I'm getting old, so I cut it back. But the fact of the matter is, he was giving out, he had people walk in his restaurant, and while they were in line, giving them coupons. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, just doing everything backward. Had a passion for barbecue, doing an incredible job with people, but was not making the money he deserved, and was doing a lot of things on his own and that he shouldn't be doing. And I watched how he grew and gathered management, and then gathered an operations person, and blew up his catering business, blew up all the number of trucks that he had that went out to the different events that he put on. And he was traveling, and he was buying a second home in Florida, and he was buying a nice car. And eventually he, along with these other members who were struggling decade earlier, are all like, can we go to nicer hotels when we have these meetings? I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Yes, we can, because all of a sudden my room rates went up for my team, the rentals went up for the meeting space. I'm like, oh, you guys suck, because now they're doing so well, they want a little nicer stuff. And I looked at them, and as I was putting the book together, I realized the systems part wasn't what changed them. It was their mindset. It was for some of them, when I first met them, they had what's called a fixed mindset. It's the government's fault. It's the employee's fault. It's the damn Karens that walk in the door. Like, all the challenges we face on a daily basis, it was somebody else's fault. And when all of a sudden you took ownership for it, and you became a growth mindset person who goes, I have the same damn challenges the fixed mindset person has, but instead of blaming others, I take ownership and I figure out that I can outlearn it, I can outspend it, I can outwork it, I will find a solution. I'm not going to give up. That determination just drives you to say, I've got this. And so one of the things that you bring up is, there are times where in the group coaching call, maybe we run out of questions. And like you say, I threaten, okay, that's a growth mindset. And these questions are made in a way to make you think about what's going on. Like, what's one of the biggest things that you accomplished this year, and how did it affect your business in a positive way? I'm forcing you to look at the positive, because all too often we look at all the negative in front of us. We never take inventory of all the little shit we did and where we came from and started and to where we are today. And we really are a great success. But because we want to achieve, we want to do better, we just keep seeing the challenge in front of us and go, oh, does it ever stop? Instead, you got to take inventory. Or things like, what do you think that you need to learn to overcome your biggest challenge? And what is that challenge? And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, I can do this. And so choosing these questions really, some of them are prepared in advance for me, and I have a list of them. And some of them are off the cuff. And a lot of it is, as you know, it's the tone of the meeting. What's kind of the theme? What have been people bringing up? So if I've got, say, I'm advanced and I have 5 questions that I want to use, I kind of take the temperature of the meeting and choose one of those 5 that fits. And there are times, by God, it's just off the cuff. It is just, we have heard certain challenges, becomes a theme in the call, and I want to shift you guys. And so the question just comes naturally out of what we have seen in the call. So some of it's just dumbass luck and being able to read the group, and some of it is being prepared and using a question that's appropriate for the time.
That's it's so important. From as an owner operator, as a guy who sometimes can get, most of the time can get lost in the rut that almost woe is me, right? That you can't. You've seen and been experienced many of the things that have occurred with me. If it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. Some days I wonder how I can even have a smile on my face or be positive. Which then brings me to, and I realized that I told Mary when we scheduled this, what's the record length? So in light of, I feel like I've already been talking too much. I'm going to end where we should have started.
Okay.
And I think that people don't give this as much credit as they should, but I think it goes right with the mindset stuff we were just talking about. So, my last question, David, is what's your win?
My win? I will tell you, my win has got to be my team this year. Part of that was a year ago, I made a decision. We had Steve Eller, who was a Mastery Plus member in the group, sold his restaurants. And here's this guy who was a CFO in real estate, multi-unit restaurant owner, opened up a second location in the pandemic, in a downtown area, in a place where business disappeared, couldn't have had any more challenges as newcomer to the restaurant business, but was able to cut bait on that one, really refine his existing business, make it successful, and sell it successfully. And I sit there and go, here's somebody who understands my systems, who's great with numbers, could help with budgets, and more importantly, is organized. Because one of the things you and I are, we're the inspirational people. We see here's the direction we want to go. We get somebody to run like a bull through a china closet. But then there's this shit that you got to do. You've actually got to accomplish some projects, and you've got to get some things done on your to-do list. And I joke around that I'm undiagnosed ADHD. I know that I'm undiagnosed ADHD. There's no way in hell. How do I know? I've told the story before, and maybe even on a podcast where my daughter got diagnosed. She goes, "Dad, it's hereditary," and it ain't, Mom. So it all adds up. So having the right people on your team. So now I've got Steve on here that has brought in the EOS system, the Traction, the book Traction everybody should read, the entrepreneurial operating system. It has brought structure, and we've made huge change. I've got my member mentors that are in the program, that owners like you that have a little extra time now in their life and are helping other new people through the process. I've brought back David Militello, who was one of my first 5 members ever and was a coach for me, a consultant for me in my old company. Life separated us for a while, and he came back as a member. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right now. We are literally, at the time of you and I recording this, have a green light that he's coming on full-time in the next X period of time as a restaurant coach. And so fabulous. I've got Mary, who's been with me. We debate this all the time. I think she was with me 3 years in my old company, 5 years here, if not 10 all together. And she's phenomenal with the members, and she's phenomenal with the managers, especially, and keeping people on track and moving everything forward. And so I look back at Avery and Deja as member mentors, and David Militello and Steve and Mary, and Jenny on my team has been with me doing all communication related stuff externally for, I think, 16 or 17 years now, if not 18. It's my team. My win is my team, because if it's left to me, it doesn't happen, because I just want to, like most entrepreneurs, I want to do the next thing. I want to chase the next squirrel. I want to do the next shiny object. I want to do the fun shit. I don't want to have to do the things I have to do all the time. And that means I miss out on some of the details. As detailed as I am, there's so many little things that need to happen. So all of a sudden, I've got this team. And that team, hopefully for you as a member, makes your experience better, helps you become more successful. It's adding that greater sense of touch. Yes, it's a group coaching program anymore, but we're adding more and more one-on-one time, because that's where the breakthroughs happen. The group gives you community. It gives you support. It really fires you up. But there's something about one-on-one, knowing someone's listening to you, somebody cares about you, somebody's helping you be successful, I think is truly the magic sauce that moves the needle. And that's my win, is we're getting even closer and closer to lots more one-on-one touch, that it's not just group coaching, it's one-on-one too.
And it's funny, that's my win as well. Your team is my win. You have done, I'll just go a little bit from the member side, and I think I probably speak for everyone, at least the ones in the Mastery Plus program that I know. You've assembled such an amazing, eclectic group of people. One of the things that corporate life taught me was, I'm a smart guy. I make no bones about it. I make fun of myself a lot. I'm a smart guy. But I'm smart enough to know that I need to be humble enough to realize that I'm not as smart as me plus everybody around my table. And that is exactly the reason why when my wife, when Michelle found your program, we probably had, we probably talked 2 or 3 times, and I talked to Ryan at least twice. It was probably 4 or 5 months before we actually joined.
Crap, I left Ryan out of the picture. I feel awful now. But anyway, go ahead.
That's okay. They'll forgive you. But that is one of the reasons why I signed up, and one of the reasons why I continue. setting aside the growth, setting aside all the positives about the program itself, it's the people. Having Mary there to help me, she's so nice and help me get to where I need to go and when I'm supposed to get there. Having Steve, since Steve's joined the team, he's been actually a great resource with Margin Edge and with budgeting, and he is very similar to you and I in the low to no bullshit, and calling you out on it when you get there. You have done such a great job at surrounding yourself with people that help lift you and all of us up. And I'll end on, that's what is important to me in this program is, David, you're not in it for yourself. You operate this business just like we operate this business. We operate our businesses with passion and love and caring for everyone else but yourself, up to and including your staff. And that is what's so important to me is you aren't just trying to gather a whole bunch of people and take a whole bunch of money. You are actually in it for our well-being. You're actually in it to help us find that aha moment. And for me, that's incredible. So thank you for what you and your team does, because I know, and I didn't watch all the podcast flips, but I think all of them pretty much had this moment. I wouldn't still be here if it weren't for you and your team. So, and I don't mean physically, I just mean in business.
Yeah.
What you have helped me do and helped me realize in the changes that we've had to make to be able to keep our businesses open is nothing short of amazing. So thank you. I agree with you. My win is your team also.
I appreciate that. And Ryan, when you listen to this, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to leave you out. And I just want to point one thing about the team. Mary came to me as a new hire, my old company, and we connected really well. When I left the company after being bought out, we stayed connected. When she left the company, I immediately made room for her. She'd be the only person, she learned everything from the inside. Everybody else on the team is a restaurant owner or was a restaurant owner that went through the program. Like, it's easy when you have evangelists like you who go, this shit works. Well, it works because you guys did the work. I didn't do the work. And how powerful it is because, one, as you talked about, we've got each one of them have a different strength. It's I didn't bring more people like me. Otherwise, who gives a shit? Like, there are things I do well and there's things that slip through the cracks. So I need people on the team that make up for those or bring new skill sets or expertise to the group. But more importantly, like you said, they care more than I do, even because like David Miltel still has 2 restaurants. Ryan James still has, 1.5 restaurants. Like, technically he has 2. And it's all of a sudden, it's like you live it, you know the pain, and you know what success looks like. And that's the magic. So it's people like you. It's the people on my team. It's the community that brings it all together. It's pretty magical. I think I've told you at the Mastery Plus meeting that sometimes I pinch myself because you guys pay me to be a part of your group, and it's pretty special. So, well,
you are kind of fun to have around. So it all evens out.
Well, this is when we go out drinking and we wonder, you guys pay me? That doesn't make a lot because I'm an idiot, but I'm just a restaurant guy, just like you guys. I really appreciate you doing this with me today. Is there any last thought or anything you want to share with anybody, whether it's a quote, a favorite book, or another question? One thing before we go, what would that be?
Oh, man. I think that, man, we covered so much. I didn't have anything else prepared. I would say that probably the last one thing that I would have is, you have to, a lot of what we do comes from within, outside of mindset, outside of confidence, outside of self-motivation, outside of systems. A lot of what we do as leaders, as owners, as entrepreneurs, comes from ourselves, right? We are living the absolute definition of insane, right? We get up every day, do the same damn thing, and expect a different result. It never happens. It never happens. But the surrounding yourself with people that help lift you up. I was a big sports guy. I wasn't lucky enough to be able to play at a college level or anything beyond high school, but I've always kept that be coachable mindset. I've always kept that humbleness of while I believe in me, I know that I need to surround myself with other people to help lift me up and put me into those positions. I never, ever thought that I would have a coach at anything. I always thought I'd have partners. I always thought that I'd have friends. I looked at mentors. I looked at coaches. I tried a life coach once. It wasn't for me. I never thought that I would be in the situation that I'm in right now, talking to a person like you. So I guess what I would end with is, if you are someone in life that thinks that you can't see where you're heading or what direction you need to go in next, that's exactly where I was when we found you. I will tell you that direction is a mentor. That direction is a coach. Maybe it's David Scott Peters. Maybe it's someone else. My favorite thing that you said when we were talking to you about coming to your program was, I'm not for everybody. Whether we both decide for you to come on and be a client, that will remain to be seen. But it's a two-way street.
Yep.
And if you aren't willing to put the work in on yourself, if you aren't willing to have that growth mindset, and loosely translated, what that means is you got to be open to take that critical feedback. Yep. You've got to be open to understand that while what you were doing might have got you where you are, which could have been fantastic, man, imagine how much further you can go if you put the right systems in place. And I'm the same way. Well, you and I are a lot alike. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Maybe not even everybody's cup of tea in the program. Sometimes I say things I shouldn't say. It happens. But I would end by saying, be open to having that mentor, to having that coach, to having somebody that can help you be a better version of you.
Amen. That's a great place to leave it. I appreciate you very much, Jeff, and I look forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks, live and in person again.
God help us all.
Thanks, brother. Ready to take the next step towards achieving restaurant prosperity, freedom from the daily grind, and the financial success you deserve? Book a discovery call with Ryan James to learn about our group coaching program. Ryan will guide you through how our program can transform your restaurant and help you achieve the prosperity and freedom you've been striving for. Click the link in the description below or visit dsp.coach/talk-to-Ryan to schedule your call now.